A warning tonight from the U.S. Postal Service. North Carolina's election laws create the risk that mail-in ballots may not arrive in time to be counted. This as the federal agency has been at the center of political controversy ahead of November's elections. Our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Fry has the letter from the Postal Service. He begins our coverage tonight on this story. Kevin, what does the letter say?
Well, in short, Loretta, basically what it says is if you wait up until the very last minute, up into the deadlines that the state has imposed for requesting that ballot, there's simply not enough time for the state to send you the ballot in the mail and for then you to turn around and send that ballot back so that it is actually in time to be counted. So here's what part of what that letter says a little more explicitly. It says that certain deadlines for requesting and casting mail-in ballots are incongruous with the Postal Service's delivery standards. This mismatch creates a risk that ballots requested near the deadline under state law will not be returned by mail in time to be counted. So what exactly is the Postal Service recommending you do to prevent yourself from being disenfranchised? Here's a bit of a rundown that they included in this letter, basically saying that if you want to request an absentee ballot, make sure that request is in, that it has arrived 15 days before Election Day. Then make sure that you have your ballot. We're sending that back in, sending that in to be counted a week before the deadline. Now, in North Carolina, they will count ballots up until November 6th, provided they're postmarked before Election Day. It's worth noting that the North Carolina State Board of Elections goes a step further. They're recommending you have your ballot in the mail a week before Election Day, so the 27th of October rather than the 30th that the Postal Service is recommending, just to be safe, to make sure that that ballot is in. In North Carolina already, there are more than 200,000 absentee by mail ballot requests in, according to data compiled by Michael Bitzer over at Catawba College. And that number is far outpacing how many ballots were requested at this point in 2016. So obviously ballots in the middle of this pandemic, mail-in voting, very, very important. One other note here on top of all of this about the U.S. Postal Service, you can also drop off the ballot yourself in person, either at your county board of elections or at one of the early voting sites if you just don't trust putting it in the mailbox.
So, Kevin, North Carolina is not alone in this. Most of the country is facing this issue of delayed mail-in ballots. That's correct, right?
Right. So the Washington Post reported today that in addition to North Carolina, there were 45 other states that received this sort of notification, plus the District of Columbia, basically saying you have to be wary that you might not meet the deadline if you wait too long to request your ballot. The Post also reports that the letters that went out to all these states were actually planned before the new Postmaster General, who's kind of at the center of all this political controversy, before he actually took over the job. So at the end of the day, again, the guideline, request your ballot early, get it in early. In fact, you can request your ballot now, and they're going to start sending them out in early September, Loretta.
Okay, our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Fry with